Alright guys, this is going to be a short video on how to buy a used pocket bike. First, let's take a look at the different kinds. Pretty much every type of pocket bike is represented except for the tiny bikes. Just don't have one of those right now. I'm going to go over what to look for in each kind of bike. It's going to be quick. So basically, if you're looking to buy one of these bikes, the 50cc is a little bit bigger than the tiny ones. As in every bike, you want to start off by checking out the tires and the bodywork, because that's usually the most expensive stuff on the bike aside from like a brand new bike itself. So if the bodywork is good, if it has a few scratches, it's not a big deal, but if it's cracked or broken, that's something you don't want. The wheels and tires should be good. They should be fairly fresh. You know, lots of thread means it hasn't been used too much. If it's bald tires, then you really don't want that, because it's obviously being used. The motor's probably more worn down. But if it's been replaced tires, then you probably still want to buy it, because that means the person actually knew what they were doing enough to be able to replace them. You want to take a look at everything. You know, has few damages, but nothing too bad. Make sure it has a pull start. Ask if it has a battery. Most likely, if you're buying a used one, it's going to be a dead battery. But even if the battery's dead, make sure to check out the fuse. Fuse is in here. Make sure it's not cracked, broken, anything like that. If possible, ask them to ride it first, just to make sure everything's good. But more importantly, what you want to look at is who you're buying it from. Because if it's like if it's someone that's saying, come meet me somewhere and I'll show you the bike, you most likely don't want to buy from them, because there's some reason why they're not showing you their house. It might be stolen. So kind of stay away from that kind of scenario. Alright, let's move on to the dirt bike. Mini dirt bike. Same thing. You want to look at the tires. You want to look at the kickstart. You want to look at the body if it's missing any sides. Right now, it's missing a couple sides, and the gas cap is messed up. But not really a big deal. It all depends on the price. And I'll come back to that at the end. Looking at the rims, see it has an aftermarket part. That's a little bit more expensive than just regular, so that's a up. And then you have these kind of bikes, like my bike, where it's going to be a lot more expensive. I put this over the exhaust. The gas tank fumes come out sometimes because of the air hole. So for this kind of bike, you're going to want to do the same thing. Just look at everything, see how good everything is. Tires fresh. This one just replaced tires, so it's still got the nipples on it. Has a ton of upgrades. This one you're most likely never going to find. For sale being, yeah, you're most likely never going to find a bike like this being sold. It's very unique, but we're talking more about the type. So when you're looking at this kind of bike, check the oil. You can check the oil by going right here. See how clean or dirty it is. If it's semi-clean to a little bit dirty, that's fine. If it's brand new, they obviously just replaced it. You don't want it to be completely black, because that means they probably never replaced it. That's harmful to the motor. You want to check, ask them if it has upgrades. Don't just believe them. If they say, oh yeah, it has upgraded this and this, just like ask them, oh, can you show me that? I don't know much about these bikes. Or if you're more confident like I am, you have to be like, oh yeah, no, it doesn't really have that. I'm looking right here and that's the stock one. But on this one you can see it has the aftermarket ignition coil, paint on the engine, aftermarket air intake, aftermarket carburetor, tons and tons of stuff. The headlight, custom LEDs, has a ton of stuff. Just make sure it has everything and it runs. I usually tend not to buy non-running bikes, but I have in the past, because it might not be that much work. Depends on your mechanical ability. Alright, we're at 4 minutes, so let's talk about prices. Trying to speed up now. So if you're looking at a bike like this, max you want to spend on it is $200. I've seen some ads on Craigslist that people are asking $500 for these used, and it's just ridiculous, because it's like a 2007 little pocket bike that brand new costs $400 or $500. So yeah, the max you want to spend on something like this is $200, and that's if everything's correct on it. So like if it has all the battery pieces, it has minimal scratches like this, some are okay as long as it's not cracked, broken, or missing, that the engine runs, and that the tires are good, $200, more than fair deal. $220 max. You know, if everything's working, everything's good. Now let's look at this one. This one's a little simpler. It might be like $400 brand new. So ask them what year it is. They're probably gonna say it's some other year than it actually is. So look it up. If it has a engine number or VIN number, all these bikes have engine and VIN numbers, and you can run that through the internet and it'll tell you what year it was made and all this crap. So make sure you do that, because used, it depends on really how old it is. But this one, it might be a little bit old, 2-3 years, maybe a little bit more, but it has not been that used. The nipples are still even on the tops of this, so it's a good bike. The engine's new. It has its problems with idle. I've messed with it a lot, but the idle, you need to play with the choke a little bit to keep it going with the idle. Once you get going, it's good, but, you know. Alright, with this one, same thing. So this one, the max you'd ever want to pay is for something that's in perfect condition is $250 if it's stock. If it's all stock and just in good condition. Because most likely it's going to be an older bike. It's going to be a 2007, 2008, 2009. It's not going to be a 2012. So keep that in mind. Remind that to the person that's selling it. It's like, hey, this is not a new bike. We're not going to give you $500 for it. And it's completely stock. No, crazy. So just be aware of what year it was made in, and if it has any modifications, how much it's been used. You don't want something that's been used and abused already and they're just looking to get rid of it before the engine runs out. Alright guys, one last thing. Let's get these bikes started. I'll just show you what each one should kind of sound like individually, and then we'll cut the video there. I'll pause it now and then come back.